So some of them already know they're coming to you. Those who are prayerful, they know they're coming to you. They knew they were coming to you. So it's not going to be a surprise. There are some workers that were there when you were there working, wherever you were working, in your friends' places, your families, that you won't be expecting them, but they'll come to you, because the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Some of them will be shocked where I have elevated them above their employers. Yes, their employers. Some of them will be so shocked that I have placed them above their employers, even their employers' children and family. Some of them will be so shocked. Do you understand that? Some of them will be so shocked. And he gave us an example of, he changed the topic from house helps and servants a bit, and he went back to some family friends of ours who he told us the young, there are several children in that family. Well, they are not children, they are grown ups, but um, so he told us the last born will be above all the others, and he's a young man who right now is not walking right in Christianity. The others are walking in their Christian walks, although according to God they have issues before him. Their walk has issues. So, but this young man now, he's been placed above all his siblings, all of them, even above his father. And it's so, it was a surprise for us to hear all that. And the Lord kept saying, no, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. If I've done that to your siblings and your relatives, why can't I do this to this other family? I would be unfair. Even what I have done in history to other people, I would be unfair if I didn't do it, because this is the way it has to happen. So he kept saying, it will shock everybody. They will be shocked to pass through your hands, some of them, and and their siblings to go through this young man's hands for impartation, because they would not expect that. They would expect they are the ones who would impart him. But imagine, God has turned tables, and now they'll pass through this young man's hands. And it will really shock people, because they always think that they are better. They always think that they are better than this young man. Even though not because they're older, no, but they have always thought they are better because they are spiritually. They have always thought they are better. Now, all these people I've mentioned, you are the ones who are going to settle them. Now you are the ones who are going to settle them. What they thought was theirs, they'll realize it's not theirs, has never been theirs, that all of them have been just custodians. They'll realize they cannot call it theirs. Okay? He's talking about properties and all that wealth, whatever wealth, whether it's little or not. Wow. And I'll tell you one thing, you will not, you will be shocked at the speed at which that place will be built up. So he was talking about a particular place we have been suspecting that that's where he's settling us with our families, but he has never confirmed. So this is when he's trying to give us an idea that it's the place, although it's not the only place. So he gave us the name. So he was like, I will shock you at the speed at which that place will be built up. It will shock you. It's one thing you won't be expecting. The speed that that place will be built up, I will shock you. Take my words as truth. That place will shock you at the speed it will be built up. even the level it will be built, the speed it will be built. So now you can imagine what and where you are going, what you'll find there and where you're going, what you will find there and where you are going. So another thing about the speed and level that he's building these places, he also confirmed the altar will be built at the same speed that it will shock us how it will be built. The town I call Kabati, I've mentioned several times where we come from, our hometown. The same thing will happen to it. The place where we are in Malili, the two towns, Kabati and Malili, he gave us examples and told us these places will be flattened in one day, and those people who need to be paid off will be paid off by God. We at top dollar. Those who are going to be chased, he'll chase them away. Those who are going to be led or moved to give of their title deeds to the Lord, to the altar, to the altars, both altars, because these two towns have altars near them, or they are next to altars. So people will be led to give of their title deeds. People will be led to give without being paid. Some will be paid and some will not. And also now the ones I said, God will chase away some of them, especially if they are dealing with witchcraft and all that stuff. He says he's going to chase out a lot of people. In fact, no one will know when they leave, because some of them will die and some of them will just up and leave and just leave everything as it is, and God will have taken possession of it, because he says he's not, it's these times of judgment. It won't be a matter of this person owns this and they have been dealing with witchcraft, they have been messing their neighbors and their relatives lives with that witchcraft. So they are being they are sowing what they reap. So they are going to lose everything, and some of them will lose their lives. A lot of them actually, he said, will lose their lives, because once they die, immediately they die, they release the remnants, they release the people who they held back. One person will die and release 2, 3, or 5 people. One person will die and release 2, 3, 5 other people that they held back, or that could not ascend to their rightful place because of this particular person. And also, it's not some of them that are evil, even the ones that are going to go to heaven. He says once somebody is arrested to heaven, they will release 1, 2, 3, or more people that could not ascend to their rightful place with them alive, because they are of the old guard. Especially as I'm talking about the old guard who are being arrested to heaven, they have to release a lot of women and a lot of teenagers, a lot of children, as you have heard in another in another recording I did. I can't remember which recording, what title, but if I remember it, I'll write down in the comment section. Um, but it was a dream I had. I think the message is called dreams, or a dream I had, and God was made me speak to these men that were helping me um, give birth spiritually, and before we could name the baby or the bubble that came out as a baby from me, I began to talk to them and tell them, your work is done. You have birthed this thing, but unfortunately, you have to go. A lot of you have to go. Not all of you, but a lot of you have to go. Not all of you, but a lot of you have to go, have to die, because you're holding back so many, especially children, especially women, teenagers, and young children. You have to go so that you can release them into their calling, because if you're still alive, they will not enter into their positions, their destinies. So God gave me that dream, and he revealed that when one dies, in fact, this he explained to us verbally at some point. um, I don't know if it was before or after this dream. he was explaining that the remnants, death, the global deaths will be what will release remnants, will be what will bring about the release of remnants, especially the foreigners. These global mass deaths that are happening are what will release the remnants. Okay? You have to understand that before, when there is a move of God, even in the Bible, a lot of deaths happen. I gave you examples of Noah. Okay, look at the deaths that happened, global deaths. The release of Moses. Look at the deaths that happened when he was a baby, and he was hidden. The time of Jesus. Look at the deaths that happened for him to when he was born. Because when something, when he calls it a move of God or an era is beginning, these deaths happen to release the people that are supposed to be released. These people that became Jesus' disciples, I believe they were younger than him, probably, a lot of them, because his age mates were all killed when they were young. So you can imagine, and these people, if I remember right, they were coming from an area near him or something. Um, let me not speak that in authority with authority because I don't know. I can't remember. But that's what I assume that some of them knew him before and some of them didn't know. But even if they didn't know him, they were of the same neighborhood somewhere, same town or neighborhood there, because they came to be baptized. Some of them by John, they became his disciples. So things like that. So a lot of deaths happen to release people who, when it's a new era or a new move, there's always something that happens, like either mass deaths of bubonic plagues, black death, all those olden times things that used to wipe out a big population of people. That's what God was revealing to us. That is what happens usually when there's so much mass deaths like that. There's a move of God. Every era is about 1,000. I believe it's 1,000, if I'm not wrong, or 2,000 years. There's always something that some deaths that happen to release people that are in that time, carrying the move of God for that period. So that is what I can explain to you. I'll continue with this recording. So I'm sorry for having digressed so much. In this recording, I'm digressing too much, and I know I need to speak some of these things because some things I've not spoken in other recordings. So it will just be a good thing that they are spoken, even if it's here, even if it's going to make the recording longer. So he continues. Now he's speaking to my brother, but also to me, but focusing on my brother. I told you your homes are many. I told you your homes are so many. You don't know where they all are. Even you, now he was talking to me, even you, Mule, you don't know where they all are. You have no idea where they all are, and you don't need to know beforehand. When you need to move, that's when you will know. But other people who are taking care of your resources will know where everything is. They'll know where your homes are. They'll know what is in every home and what is needed. They'll know. They'll tell you sometimes, they'll tell you beforehand that this is where you're going. Sometimes you won't know. Sometimes you won't need to know where you're going. But remember, your homes are everywhere. Kenya is full of them. I gave you the hint of Malindi. Malindi, there are several, and not just Malindi. Even in Mombasa, there are several. Now he told us about Malindi, and told us there and he told us there's a friend of ours. He told that he's going to give her a hotel. Even me, I've been given. I was told at that time a hotel and homes in Malindi, and then immediately a few weeks or a few months later, we were talking to another friend, and she was telling us her sister-in-law um, was was assigned a ministry to go all over the counties by God. And when she went to Malindi, she found all these empty houses, and that was after COVID. She found all these empty houses, and she was wondering why are the houses empty? Why are the hotels empty, closed, and all that? And she asked the locals, and people were telling her, "Oh, you didn't know? A lot of Italians that used to stay here, when the COVID came to Kenya, they decided to go back to their homelands." And now, when they went to their homelands, they thought they were escaping the COVID. They found it there, and a lot of them died there. That's why these homes have been empty. And so the Lord was telling us, He's giving us homes, even in Malindi. He had given us an example of Malindi, and we didn't know all this. So it was just a confirmation that already the wealth has been acquired by God. Homes have been acquired. Land and houses and all those stuff, and even the wealth has been acquired in some places. So we are not going to start. He's not going to start now. He's already done it. He's already got lawyers and legal some legal people dealing with all these things even before. They might not even know who these houses will end up with. I mean, who they'll end up with. The homes, which people will end up with what homes or which property. But God has, I'm sure, a myriad of people who deal with this thing, acquiring wealth, because He has told us He already has accounts set up that we don't even know where they are, who they are with, financial accounts. And I gave you an example. There's an account this prophet of God was told several years ago that um, somebody was set up to do a wealth transfer, to set up a system to acquire wealth. And I won't go into details how they did it, but he was told by God to set up an account specifically, and he was told that's specifically for Kenya. He didn't know anyone in Kenya. I don't believe he knew anything in Kenya. Now he's dead, but he's not. He didn't live to see this time, but his family was given they are custodians of that account. I don't know if it's one account or several, but the money that is there is so much. It's in trillions of dollars of shillings, trillions of shillings that was left for Kenya. I don't know whether it has accumulated. The last time we had it, so a few years ago, I don't know if it has accumulated more than what we had, but knowing God, it has probably accumulated. So we were thinking that's just the only account for the government of God. But God keeps telling us, no, there is just one account. I give you an example about a financial account that you have no idea who I have used to set up finances on behalf of Kenya, on behalf of this new move, on behalf of the government, the Lord's government of Kenya, the one He's going to set up. It's not, these are private accounts, so they are not for this present government, but they are for the government He's going to set up, the Lord's government that He's going to set up with his leader and his leaders, okay? The rightful leaders who will care for the normal mwananchi, for the welfare of the country, okay? After the revival, it won't, I don't know when it will happen. Let me not tell. I don't know when he'll set it up, but he's already spoken about a president who is a prophet. He's not a politician, but he's a prophet. And he's supposed to be the first president of Kenya in this, when he takes over the country for the Lord officially. When the Lord takes over the country for the Lord. So all we know is that it will happen after the revival. Things will happen, but we don't know after how long it will happen and when he's going to do it. So it will happen. That's another branching off. And let me come back to, now you understand about Malindi and why Holmes, he gave us an example of Malindi and Mombasa. So I continue. I told you to start thinking of hotels and stuff like that, because hotels can host a lot of people, a lot of children. Hotels can host even guests that you are impacting. Hotels can host even some of your family members that will pass through your hands. They don't need to stay with you. Not everybody will need to stay with you in your homes, even if they are relatives, only specific people. But these other places will be available, especially the hotels. There's a time he gave me, it's actually in this, let me continue. It's actually what I was going to talk about. So he was like, Mule, I told you about, okay, I worked in Hilton at some point in the 1990s. I worked in Hilton. So he was telling me, I told you about Hilton. And it's not the only hotel. So he told me, actually, he told my brother to tell me, you know, God he's giving you, he's giving you Hilton Hotel. So I was so shocked. I was like, what? A big hotel? I mean, and he said, that is so small. This is the wealth transfer God is talking about. Impossible things. When you think about them, they are too impossible. But that's what he does. He gives you prophecies of impossible things that you cannot do. Only him he can do. So it's not me who will acquire it, it's him. So he was telling me that anyone who is my remnant who works in particular hotels, not all hotels will change hands. He knows which companies and hotels will change hands, which need to change hands. So it's not every business that will change. People should not get scared. It's not every business that will change. There are very many businesses in Kenya. There are very many businesses globally, but not all of them will change hands. But he's given us specific ones. So now he's telling me, even at this time when I was told Hilton, I did not even know Hilton was being sold, the one in Nairobi. I had no idea because we've not been watching news. We hardly watch news. We keep away from news. So he told me, I told you about Hilton, but it's not the only hotel. It's not the only hotel I'm taking over and giving to you. It's not the only hotel and not in Nairobi. It's not the only one. There are so many that are changing hands. And you're only thinking of Kenya. You're only thinking of Kenya. Why would you only think of Kenya? Why would you only think of Kenya? Why would you only think of your own country? I have hiding places everywhere. I have hiding places everywhere. You will soon come to find out where they are. There are some countries right now that the population is dying. There are mansions that have nobody. You will be used to impart women. That's now my brother, who has been specifically talked about women because his ministry is impartation of women and children. Okay? Mainly. There are mansions that have nobody, and you'll be used to impart women, the generation in those countries to begin to increase. Okay? You will begin to impart women, the generation of those countries in those countries, so that they begin to increase. So you'll have homes in some places out there, because you will also need to hide some people from those nations that you're dealing with, that you are impacting. Not all of them are coming to Kenya. Not all these foreigners are coming to Kenya. So think of Italy. So my brother was being told, think of Italy. Think of Italy. Think of Italy. Mule, stop thinking of one hotel. That's me now. What about a chain of hotels? Why are you just thinking of only one hotel? Why are you only thinking of only one building? Remember, wealth transfer. Remember, companies changing hands, wealth transfer. Remember that. So why can't Hilton change hands into yours? Why can't the whole chain of Hilton hotels change hands into yours? Why can't Movenpick change hands into yours? Can you imagine how many hotels those are? That is a wealth transfer I'm bringing your way. So now you can begin to understand. People, I think now you can begin to understand the impossible dream, the impossible prophecy God is talking about. He is talking about a thing that nobody of their own right mind can think and draw and all these plans and say, okay, we have to transfer these hotels, we have to transfer this. Well, a chain of hotels is many. I mean, Hilton has many hotels all over the world. One hotel is not cheap. So you can imagine, you're like, where is that money coming from? But God is saying it has nothing to do with money. This is wealth transfer. Companies are changing hands, ownership, and there will be no exchange of money. Some companies will be lost, will be paid, will be bought. People, especially in Kenya, who are companies are going bankrupt because this wealth transfer will not stop. Just when it happens at the revival, no, it will continue. So you're saying there are some companies that will go bankrupt and they'll come to the altar of God, or they'll come to the remnants and their lawyers will say, buy this thing from us. We want to, or they'll say, we are giving this to the Lord. So it won't stop just once when it happens. Okay, so I continue. Can you imagine how many hotels those are? That is the wealth transfer I'm bringing your way. And then he talks to my brother. He says, if one remnant owns a hotel or chain of hotels, if one remnant owns a hotel or chains of hotels, do you know that means that you don't need to own them? You can use them. You can host those you're trafficking in Mule's hotels or in other remnants hotels. Don't forget that. Some will be doing business, some some hotels will be doing business, and some it will be just for ministry. Not all hotels are ministry. And don't forget that tourism for a while, global tourism, especially in Europe and Western countries, will drop. But places like Africa, like Kenya, there will be a lot of booming business because of the people that are coming, because of the wealth that is being transferred through these visitors, foreigners coming to Kenya. You can imagine the number of hotels that will be built. More hotels to accommodate this influx of people. You can imagine the number of planes Kenya Airways will have to buy from other failing airlines in order to bring this population. There are a lot of things you might not have thought of. There are a lot of things you might not have figured out or even understood that are connected. One is connected with this and the other. Can you imagine the kind of transport transport you will need, the transports that you will need, the number of vehicles. It's not all the time that there will be translocation or teleportation. It's not. Can you imagine the vehicles to transport a lot of people? And you're only thinking of hotels. You're only thinking of hotels. How about some private hospitals that will be out of work? When so much healing starts happening at that altar, do you understand the number of hospitals, private hospitals, that will be out of work? Yeah. Some private hospitals will go out of business and sell their premises and businesses. The wealth is not just being transferred before. No. You will continue acquiring property. You will continue acquiring a lot of property. People and companies that will go bankrupt. Those are some examples. You will keep acquiring, and I will be pushing your lawyers and accountants and everybody involved with your finances and the financiers. I will be pushing them to acquire a lot of properties, because a lot of people that will go bankrupt will come and offer their buildings, either give to the Lord, to the altar, or offer them for sale. And there are those I will have mercy on, I will buy at top dollar. So where the first time he ever told us about buying property at top dollar, he says he's not a cheap God, and he will buy, if he has to buy somebody's land, he will buy it at top dollar. He will not he will not I don't know what expression that is. I can't remember the expression he uses, but he just told us he's not a cheap God. So he'll give people value for money, even beyond and above what they could have received from the market if they had sold it. So that is what he told to talk to us about buying these properties. Let me continue. There's a lot you have not thought of. For example, how do you think I will sort out the sewer system in the South Sea area? There's a time we used to stay in South Sea. How do you think? It's all messed up. It cannot continue like that. There's some places I won't bring down the buildings of, but there are places I will bring down the buildings to sort out. But in South Sea, how do you think I will sort out that problem? You will see for yourselves what I will do. There are buildings that will have to come down. Right now, South Sea is not as you left it. It looks different. That altar, there's an altar in South Sea, by the way. That altar, a sub-altar, actually sub-altar under the 5 altars I've talked about. It's a sub-altar. It's not the main altar. It looks different. For that altar in South Sea, I will have to deal with buildings. Okay, I told you there are some places I need the acreage. I will know how to deal with it. You will see how I will deal with it, and you will write about it. You will write about it. It will be known how I did it, how I dealt with some overcrowded places, because there are some remnants I'm going to use and give blueprints, give plans of how to sort out particular areas. And there are places that are so easy to deal with, like the slums. They will be so easy just to flatten everything up, but there are places that I'll need to be gentle with. Some places it's just bulldozing, bringing down buildings. There are some other places it won't matter who lives there. The whole system just needs to start afresh. The whole system just needs to start afresh. So Akipa Estate, that's an estate in South Sea. The estate just needs to be flattened. Did you know that? The whole of those buildings, they are so old. Sewer system, old. It was not equipped for all that. All those houses, the estate, some of them have to go completely. They have to be raised down. Some of the high rises will need to be brought down. But I have the plans. I have them. I have the plans. Some of them will not need to be brought down. Some of the sewer systems will need to be dealt with through roads, through the lanes, through the avenues. It's not all buildings that need to come down. I know how to deal with it. But I'm telling you, Wilson Airport will have to move. I really reacted a lot in my body. My body was shaking and all that stuff in reaction. That's what happens when it's like the word comes with so much power. My body really reacts as a confirmation that it's true. What he's saying will literally happen. So I repeat that again. I know how to deal with it, but I'm telling you, Wilson Airport will have to move. Wilson Airport has to move. I will show you where it needs to move in a safer place. I will make a place for it. 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 Acreage, remember acreage? Yes, it's not the only airport, small airport. I will raise up several more around Nairobi. It doesn't need to be centered in one place. So I remember now just recently in TikTok there was a lady. She just appeared when I was watching her video. Just appeared when I was scrolling through others, and she was talking about Wilson Airport. I think she works in Wilson, or she's a pilot in Wilson of one of the companies there. And she was complaining how the mushrooming of houses in South Sea and in surrounding areas is like a danger zone. Um, is a completely dangerous place for housing a population and an airport near there. So I don't remember what there was a video she was referring to. Something happened just recently in I don't know if it's a plane that crash landed or something. I didn't check the video she was talking about, she was referring to, but she was saying according to that case, there's a danger here and it needs to be sorted out. So I think she was saying the government needs to check out about Wilson and the mushrooming of, especially the high rises that are being built in South Sea. South Sea was not planned for high rises, but now high rises, tall high rises are there. I don't know how big is the biggest, but South Sea is in the vicinity of Wilson Airport. It's just next to Wilson Airport, depending on where you are in South Sea. But for a plane, I believe for a plane taking off and landing, it needs airports need, even if it's a small airport, they need big land in case of emergencies and stuff, just for safety reasons. And that has been, and God now has addressed that. We had not even thought of that at all. This is when I'm remembering, and this was written in 2020, early 2024 in April. So this was way before now I saw this lady's TikTok video. So that's something that has been dealt with by God already. We are not going to think about it much because we don't know where He's going to direct it, where He's going to refer it, or rather move it to. So I continue. Remember, visitors, some of them are coming with private planes, some of them are leaders. Some leaders will not enter this country with these big public planes. They'll have their own private planes, and some of these planes, they will leave them here for you. And there are some I'll allow to go back with them, or you will transport them back and bring back your planes. So, what will you do with 10 planes? Can you imagine when these leaders, rulers, rich people come with the planes and just give to the altar? What will you do with so many planes? But some, it will be just out of gratitude. They'll just give it. They'll pour their wealth. They'll give their wealth. I will give you wisdom to know what to do. You will bless some people with this wealth. Don't forget, when you're impacting other nations in Africa with this revival fire, you will also impart some wealth from you to particular people in those other nations. So, even if we are talking about 10, 12, 20, 50 planes that have been left for you, they are not for you. Not all of them. There's a reason why I'll be pushing people to bring them here, because there are people who will need them. There are some people in other African nations that will need to come here and receive. Some of them will be big people. Some will be carriers of this revival to their nations, and you will need to give these planes and some of the wealth. So don't forget, this wealth, if you allow it, it will overwhelm you. But don't look at it like that, like like it's yours. That's how it will help you. Look at it like you're a custodian of so much of it. Okay? Helicopters. You think it's just planes? Helicopters. They'll be brought. And you will have to have ground to park them, because there will be so many. There will be so many. I told you about cruise ships, yes, but you're not understanding the wealth transfer, the kind of cruise ships that will be brought to Kenya, the massive ones that you've never seen before. In fact, some of them cannot enter the harbor because it's not deep enough. But because, again, you're not understanding the wealth transfer, the kind of cruise ships that will be brought to Kenya, the massive ones that you've never seen before. In fact, some of them cannot enter the harbor because it's not deep enough. But of course, I'll prepare along the coast. I'll prepare the harbor, and you will see the kind of massive cruise ship hotels you've never seen in this land coming here, because they'll be owned by Kenyans and Africans. Okay? You're not understanding the kind of shipping industry that is changing hands. How many will acquire shipping industries that pass by Africa? The destination is the destination in a short while, in a short time, will be Africa. The main destination will be Africa. So, you will own a lot of these shipping companies, and of course, in a very short time, Kenya will be building massive ships that don't use petrol, that don't use the oil that is polluting the ocean. So you can imagine the traffic, the ships that will travel all around the coasts of Africa. Oh, yes. What is impossible to God? That's what he asked. What is impossible to God? Do you know that Madagascar is coming close to the motherland of Africa? I am bringing it closer. Not as close as you think, but I am bringing it closer. It will not be very far away. It's part of Africa, and those islands, they are also coming closer. Some of them will sprout out bigger islands than the things that are there. I am talking about the Seychelles and the Mauritius. There are lands that are going to sprout out, that are bigger in the ocean, and they will be brought closer to the motherland. They will feel like part of the motherland again. I told you bridges will be built across, and it will be done so effortlessly, so quickly. So the lands will shift, will move closer to the motherland. And also, there will be bridges that will be built that will connect the lands to the motherland. And all this will happen at the same time. Everything will be shifted at the same time. Lands that will develop, that will sprout out of nowhere, and lands that will disappear, and lands that will be moving. All this will happen at the same time, basically at the same time. You could say the same event will shift everything around. Again, I say, I'm just repeating. You could say the same event will shift everything around. At the same time, lands, Polynesian lands, islands will disappear, a lot of them, and a lot of coastal areas in America, coastal areas in Europe will disappear into the ocean, into the sea, because those lands are judged. Even as Africa is sprouting out new land, even as Africa is being pushed together again. Sorry, not again. Even as Africa is being pushed together, even as Africa is being elevated, some lands will slide into the sea again. No, will slide into the sea, and that will be my judgment in the West and my blessings to my land, Africa. There's a lot that I can say. There's a lot that I can speak. A lot will be happening. A lot will be happening. Even as deaths happen in the rest of the world, even as population reduces in the rest of the world, why do you think I will be pushing even for twins, even triplets to be born in Africa? Because I am increasing your population. I am increasing the population of my people in Africa. I am increasing the population of the motherland of Africa, even as I decrease the population in Europe, in Asia, in the Western countries because of judgment. In a very short time, the black skin will increase, the population will increase worldwide. Even as the white skin, the white people decrease, even as some of the Asian population decreases. And did you know that as the population decreases in other lands, in the Western lands, do you know that I will push some Africans to populate, to repopulate some places that I'm clearing of their original settlers? There are some countries that will turn black overnight. There are some Western countries that will become black, population will become black overnight. And I am the one who will push them to populate such places because those will be houses that they didn't build. They'll find houses that they did not build. They'll find wealth that they did not plant there. It will be like milk and honey that they'll find, just as I told my people that the land of Canaan is flowing in milk and honey. There are some places that will be left with milk and honey because human population will decrease so much that the population that is there will not be able to take care of the country. So I'll push some people, some individuals, as well as groups, as well as families to populate some lands. And there are some countries in Europe that will turn black overnight. But this will not happen immediately. I will do it at its own time. I'll push them at the right time so that some lands will not be overgrown by wild animals. It's time for a reset. It's time for a reset. The skin that you thought was important is no longer. The skin color you thought that had importance is no more. The skin color that thought were the leaders of this world is no more. Skin color has changed hands. Leadership, skin color has changed leadership. Skin color has changed leadership. Skin color has changed cause the last shall be first and the first shall be last. The Mzungu has become the black. The Mzungu is a white man. The Mzungu has become the black and the black has become the mzungu. The mzungu has become the servant, and the black has become the leader. The mzungu has become the laborer, and the black has become the boss, has become Madam Boss, and has become the boss. Because don't forget, women will be lifted up. Black women will be lifted up. So at this point, the Lord stopped speaking, or rather giving us a message, and he finished. But he asked us whether we had any questions, um, whether there was anything specific that we needed to ask. So my brother asked some personal question, and he was answered. And then now I will be just reading some questions that he's asked, and giving some answers, and avoiding some other personal issues. So my brother asked about some particular people God had revealed to us that have to pass through our hands, and he was asking, wow, these are people above us, or we have always known they're above us. So why? I mean, in what way will they pass in our hands? Because you have already revealed this to us over years, that these people are above us, so spiritually and in the future. So God was saying, I need to humble these people. There are levels of pride some of them have that I will need to deal with. And these people are Christians. Well, I'm talking about family as well as friends, and even some neighbors. So God was revealing that a lot of these people, especially some Christians, who say they are Christians, they have a level of pride that he needs to deal with, and that needs to be dealt with. So he was saying, but I will need to deal with that kind of. I will need. No, let me repeat that. There's a level of humbling, and there's a level of humbling that I need to deal with, that is proudful in some people, and that I will need to deal with. But that's how it is. It has to happen the way I want it. It has to start the way I want it. It has to operate the way I want it. You will know some things. There are some things I won't tell you. I will not tell you. There are some things I have hinted at, but I won't tell you fully. You will see it happen, but it should be enough for you to know that they will pass through your hands, and it's enough for me to have told you you're an important person in this walk as a remnant, as well as the one who is overall in that altar. As for where you're going, just be expectant. Just be expectant. Whatever I have hinted might or might not, but just know that you are not far. You're not far from your inheritance. You're not far at all from your inheritance. I also told you your inheritance is everywhere. It's scattered everywhere. So my brother had also asked about marriages, how our marriages will, no, our weddings will play out, because God had told us we are going to do private weddings. For the forerunners, they have to be private weddings because there will be no time, especially for those who are not married. But even those who are married, if they are still, if their spouses are the ones that they need to, God is has left them with the same spouse, um, they still need to renew their vows. They have to retake fresh vows, because he says in this new era, in this revival, when we take vows afresh, something is imparted, something is, it will be something fresh, something new. So every married couple that will still be married to the same, um, to the same partner has to speak fresh vows, even if you've been together for 50 years, for example. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Even if you've been together for 20, 10, 50 years, you have to retake your marriage vows again, because something will be passed on. Something spiritual will be passed on, as you retake these new vows in the new move. But the foreigners will have to have private, very private, and very private ceremonies. And he said we will understand when we are at that time, not now. But how your marriages play out, who marries you where, that one you will have to wait and see. That one you have to wait and see. It might surprise you, it might not, but that one I want you to wait and see. And how I have prepared it, you will have to wait and see. There are places that I told you that will need to be built up before the revival, so that people find it already built up. It won't be complete, but you won't find some, but you will find something different from what you left. Where you're going, you'll find something different from what you left. So there are some things you will wait and see. There are some things you will wait and see. There are some things already in operation. You will wait and see. Even as you are foreigners, there are people already who are being sorted out, being cleared from the process you are going, or rather, being cleared from the places you are going, even before you reach there. So, where will they be, these people? That should be the question in your head. Where will these people be? You will know things. You will know things, or rather, you will know things will happen suddenly. I told you the buildings, even as I told you in Kitui and Kabati and the altar will be built in such a short time. I told you those buildings will be built up quickly and suddenly. So let me repeat that again. I think I read some things wrong. Things will happen suddenly. I told you the buildings, even as I told you in Kitui Kabati and the altar, that it will have to be built up in such a short time. So if I told you that about whew, having a problem, let me repeat that again. Sorry. I told you about the buildings, even as I told you that in Kitui, Kabati, and the altar, it will need to be built in such a short time. This is not a question. It will need to be built in such a short time. So if I told you that about Kitui, what do you think will happen to these other places, these other altars? What do you think will happen to them? There are people who will be cleared out before the revival. God is not going to wait for the revival. He's not going to wait for the revival to clear out some people, because they are occupying a place where they need to, where that needs to be rebuilt, that needs to be raised down and rebuilt. Okay? So there's a particular lady who are told that she's been given spiritual responsibility over Kabati. So the Lord was saying she has a lot of work waiting for her. She has a lot of work waiting for her, a lot of work. In as much as I gave her Kabati up to a particular place called Ndolo, even up to Kitui, she's also going to be connected to the altar in Kitui also, and also Kitui town. She's also going to be connected with the altar in Kitui. So a lot of constructions, a lot of things that are going to happen will happen in her watch, because you three will not be there. When he's talking about us three, I told you we have a ministry partner. We are all connected with that altar. The lady I always talk about called A. My brother, I, and her. Although we will not be there physically, that's why he's put this lady there. So I continue. Physically, you will not be there. There are a lot of things that need to be handed over to other remnants because you won't be there physically. Others will not be there. You will not be there physically. Mule, you will not be there physically. And even as much as she's overall in these places, she might not be there physically, but she has a lot of work. She has a lot of work that she needs to raise up a lot of people, other remnants, to impart other remnants to do their work. But even before the revival, who do you think will be in charge? Who do you think will be taking care of things? She has to identify these people, other people. I gave her young men and women as daughters and children, and some of them will be used up to work with her, to run around and do a lot of things that need to be done. She might be the she might not be the one to acquire the lands, but there will be some things that she will be needed for. She will be partnering with the angels that will be sorting out a lot, the contractors that will be sorting out a lot, that will be doing a lot of stuff. I told you she'll be needed in the altar of Kitui. She'll sort out some things. Do you understand that she'll be needed to sort out a lot because the revival will not yet be? She has the wisdom. She has the wisdom to do a lot of things even before the revival. She'll sort out the contractors. She'll sort out. She'll be the in between the contractors and the angels. She'll have to oversee a lot of things before the revival. She'll have to oversee a lot of things. That's why I have placed her there. That's why I have placed her there. She'll be running. She'll be running, and don't say it's only her, even her husband. I partnered them together for such a time as this. That's why her husband has been such a help to her so far. He'll be needed. There's a gift he has that he'll be needed for. Even before the revival, he'll be needed. I'm opening up that gift in him, almost some same gift as a particular guy we know, in identifying. He named a particular guy we know. So almost same gift as this guy, identifying treasure, identifying almost the same gift as this particular guy I'm not going to name, and in another different level, identifying treasures, identifying land and what it has. So some of it will be after the revival, but some of it will be before. He'll be partnering with his wife to identify some particular land for some particular reason. These lands will be within Kabati, around the area of the altar, and in the whole area of Kitui West, within Kitui town, and also within Kitui town. There's some particular lands I need for particular reasons, and this husband of hers will be given the wisdom to know this land needs to be set apart for this reason. So there will be partners even before the revival. So there's some land he will set apart that he won't even know why, for whatever reason he needs to set it apart, but they will obey. They are they have that wisdom and discernment to hear my voice and to obey. You can share that with them or not, but she has something to do with the altar, the building of the altar. She will see a lot. She will see the angels at work. She'll be opened her eyes to see what they're doing, and she'll know what the contractors are doing. Everyone will know their part, but there's something she's in control of in the buildings, in the building up of the altar and the building up of Kabati and Kitui. That's why I need, and when it talks about Kitui, it's Kitui town. That's why I need her rested, and that's why I needed her rested. That's why I needed her rested. And then he changes the topic and says, even the married will take fresh vows. This is when now he was explaining. Even the married will take fresh vows. Even the married who are supposed to stay together will have to take fresh vows because it's a fresh thing. The vows they took before, they'll have to take them again, to retake them again. Because something will happen with the exchange of vows for everyone. Something will happen with the exchange of vows with everyone, with all the remnants. So everyone I'm talking about, and he gave us specific people, this couple that he's already talked about, that is going to acquire land in Kabati and Kitui, and also some other friends of ours that are married, two or three other different couples that are married, he named them. And he had already told us those ones will continue being married, but now he's telling us they'll have to retake and share vows again and start off afresh again. That will have to happen. So even for forerunners, or even if their forerunners or are going to start off with you all, they will still need to retake vows again. That is nothing to worry about. It will happen. However, it should happen. It will happen. We are talking about, and then now he named other particular people and everybody else. Even if they have delayed themselves, they will have to retake their vows afresh when it's time for them. And my brother was asking, when is all this supposed to happen? What you have shared, the revival and everything. When is all this supposed to start? So God he didn't give us a direct answer. He just went and said, haven't you heard? Why are you doubting your ears? Haven't you heard? What was spoken to you? So let me repeat that. Haven't you heard? Why are you doubting your ears? Haven't you heard? What was spoken to you? Why are you doubting? Haven't you heard? Haven't you heard the voice of God? Haven't you heard? It's not everything that needs to be repeated again. Trust in what you hear. Hold on to what you hear and look up. Look up. Look up to the sky. Look up. Look up. Look up to the sky. What is happening all goes hand in hand with everything. Look up to the sky. What is happening? It's all going hand in hand with the revival. So my brother began to understand what he was talking about. So he asked, tell us if possible about how it will be, the 3 days of darkness, because he had talked about 3 days of darkness, and it will have a connection with this revival and the outpouring. So my brother was asking, um, explain to us, if possible, about how it will be, the 3 days of darkness. Will it be 3 literal days of darkness? And he was saying there's some misunderstanding or conflict on things others are saying. For instance, I thought we would be taken out of here in the beginning of it, but now it sounds like it will wait for the construction to happen, and that it will be after the altar is built up. I mean, the time frame, that timeline, that's what I'm asking. And if we are going to start working, then what are these 3 years of hiding we've had from other people that they have talked about, you've told them about? So God's response, after a short while, he kept quiet for a while, and then after a short while, he responds and says, stop looking at everything in chronological order. Stop looking at everything in chronological order. Everything can happen at the same time. Everything can happen at the same time. Remember, you are forerunners. The forerunners have to begin. Does it mean you have to wait for the rest? No. Forerunning business is forerunning. Even right now, there are forerunners who are doing things ahead of everybody, who are doing things, who are seeing things ahead of everybody. So, forerunning will continue. Just as the 3 days of darkness will happen, it doesn't mean that everybody will be hidden. Just like the 3 days of darkness will definitely happen, it doesn't mean that the forerunners will be hidden. It doesn't mean you will start off with everybody else. That's why your forerunners, a lot of things will happen. How will you be able to handle the darkness if you're not a forerunner? If you're not yet, if you have not yet begun your work, how will you begin the forerunning if you have not yet been changed? How will you begin the forerunning? How will you get people out of darkness? Direct people where to go in the darkness if you have not yet been changed, where your body has not been changed. Okay, he's told us that this revival is coming to change our bodies, and I think he'll address this later. Let me continue. Just as I told you, not all your children are coming to you in the beginning. You should begin to understand not everybody is hidden, is being hidden. Your being hidden is over. Didn't I tell you that before? Your being hidden is over. I've already revealed you to people. So how can you still be hidden? There are groups for a particular reason that are going to be hidden for a time, and you might think, you might say it's 3 years. There's a word I missed a moment. So let me read that sentence again. There are groups for a particular reason that are going to be hidden for a time, and you might say it's 3 years. But how do you know it's 3 years? The Bible tells you that one day is like 1,000, and 1,000 is like one day. So how do you know it's 3 years? You will understand when the revival happens. There are things you don't know. There are things you don't need to understand right now. You don't need to know. You don't need to bother yourselves. Things will play out at their own time, and I will show you, I will reveal, I will be able to give you that understanding of how things will play out. So, there are some things that don't need to be explained right now, but I have already told you not everybody is beginning at the same time. There are few forerunners, and yet there are not few that need to begin. But not all forerunners are beginning at the same time. Just like I have remnants within remnants. Can you understand that? Just like I have remnants within remnants, there are also forerunners that are beginning before other forerunners, but yet they are called forerunners. There's a group that needs to be hidden, and there are some people that need to be hidden, but not everybody. You won't begin with all your children. You won't begin with a lot of them in the beginning, and yet, let me repeat that again. You won't begin with all your children. You won't begin with a lot of them in the beginning, and yet they will overwhelm you, the number that will come to you. So watch. Watch the sky. Watch the sky. Watch the sky. Time is now. Time is now. And he repeated that several times. Time is now. And I was strongly reacting. My whole body was strongly reacting again because of the power of those words. And then my brother asked, I think it's one of the final questions or the final questions, I can't remember. But he asked, are we allowed to request the children that I would want to start with? Well, some of them. And then God says, no and yes. No and yes. So my brother was like, no and yes, what does that mean? I don't understand. So God continues, like, you're looking at it emotionally. You're looking at it with your eyes. There might be reasons why I'll not start you off with some people. You can request, but it doesn't mean they will, that they'll be started off with you. So these are the people God has revealed are our children. Some of them He's given us. So He was requesting some particular ones that we have been that have continued communicating with us and just that have stuck with us. That's a word, that have stuck with us throughout all these upheavals, all these persecutions and everything. So he was asking particular people whether be with them, with us, and from the beginning. So that's what God was replying to. You can request, but it does not mean they will. But they'll be started off. You can request, but it does not mean they will, that they'll be started off with you. You can request, but one that I can assure you will start with you will be, he named three particular girls that he has been given. And he says that those are major ones. Those are majors. And one of them, he said, it's an urgent business. That one, she has to start off with us as forerunners. She has to be removed from her environment because God had revealed it's a toxic environment right now, and he needs to remove her as quick as possible. So I continue. I have told you, I have told you. Same as I have told you, there are some people that will be hidden. You need to understand not everybody is starting off at the same time. There's an urgent matter of your some of your relatives' children as well. Okay? There's an urgent matter about that. They'll not be hidden. They'll not be hidden. That's an urgent matter. But when they are brought to you, it's not your business. I know how to play it. You won't have a say who comes to your weddings. You can request, but you won't have a say for my own reason, and you have to be satisfied with that cause. I know why. I know why. But they will know that it has taken place. They will be informed. You can request, but you won't know. But do you understand there's a particular girl, now he mentioned her, particular girl that we met her in the first place, the first hotel we were staying in. And she has stuck with us throughout, and she's such a blessing and encouragement to us. And she's my my brother's daughter. And God was revealing, do you know how high she is? The level she is. She's going to start off with you. That little girl, she's starting off with you. Did you know that? So actually she's 20 something, and she's already been given ownership of this whole place that we are in Malili, and ownership of even beyond Malili, of the surrounding areas. I don't know about Konza City, but that's ownership. God says the place will be in her name, the land in this area will be in her name. And she's 20 something. She's not even reached, I don't know that she's reached 25 yet. She's that young. God is just, oh, he makes us laugh sometimes. So I continue. So you should be satisfied with that she has stuck with you, and she will start with you. I am giving her to you. And there are several that you have talked with that will start off with you. Not many, but there are some. Some have not told you that they are going to take over. Some I have not told you that are going to take over the place of others who have delayed themselves. There are going to be forerunners that are here in Malili, people who you have talked to. So please, again, allow me to surprise you, allow me to shock you, allow me to do the things the way I want, just as you have been allowing me all this time. You don't need to know everything. So he ended by telling us, peace, 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 have peace. Remain with the peace of God. Trust in the peace of God. Be flooded with the peace of God. Let it overwhelm you. Let it fill you. Let it settle you. So the same, I leave that to you, people. I leave that to you, and I leave that to you. So whatever is next, there was a particular personal issue my brother was ministered to. He asked, no, I started seeing a vision, and it was about something to do with my brother. The Lord had promised him, and then the Lord started explaining what that vision means, and why I was seeing it. Okay, now I think I need to finish with this. So I started seeing a car in the spirit, and there was a particular time when we were at home in Kitui. My brother had seen a vision of this particular car, and he described it to me. But what I saw was a bit different from what he described. He saw a car in the spirit, and in up country at some point. I don't know whether he was living, he was outside the gate or somewhere there, and he saw this car that was parked there, and he realized these were angels later on in the spirit, not physically. And he saw that vision, and when he tapped on the window or he spoke, I can't remember whether he tapped on the window or he spoke to ask who it was, and whether they needed help, because it was parked just outside our gate. So when he asked, when whoever it was opened the window, or rather, it didn't open, like it didn't roll down as a normal car window that we know. He said it dissolved, it disappeared, and instead of going down, as it opened, and now he could see. And but what I saw, it was just a normal car that just rolled down, the window rolled down as normal, and it kept going up and down, as if several times, as if somebody was playing with the button, the opening and the closing of the window. And but I was not seeing anybody. Even the angels that I knew were angels, but I could hear a statement repeated severally as the window was going up and down, up and down, up and down. It was an it was our angels. We had been given an entourage. God had given us, told us we have an entourage, both of us, and group of angels, some on motorcade and some on in cars, um, and it was all a spiritual thing, and also foot, what I could call foot soldiers or foot angels. Um, as I explained, the ones in the motor car, motorcade, and cars, and the others now, more of them, actually, a lot of them were the ones on foot. And now these angels were saying in excitement. In fact, they were so excited in what I was in this vision. They were saying, "We are ready, we are ready, all of us, we are ready, we are ready." And so they kept repeating, "We are ready, we are ready, we are ready." So I turned to my brother, and I explained about the vision I was seeing, and how it looked like the kind of car that he described to me while we were in up country. In fact, it looked more like a four-wheel drive, but a car, an armored car, like he's seen before, but not a regular car. It was an armored car, a four-wheel drive or something, or a bigger car than a four-wheel drive. But it was an armored. It looked like an armored car, and the angels, when he finished talking to them, I can't remember what they said, but afterwards they told him, this is yours, this car is yours. And they told him, and many others, it's not just this. So we were left astounded. We were like, okay, so it's some spiritual car that will become physical, but we didn't get any answer. So I turned and revealed to him all that. And also, he had revealed to me, there was just recently, he had seen a vision of, it wasn't even a vision, it was a live thing. He had asked God to confirm something. And because he was seeing cars passing, the trailers that carry cars, small cars, for to take them to the car yard, to particular car yards, or deliver them somewhere, for sale or whatever. Maybe they were bought. So maybe a trailer that had 6 particular cars, and he saw them. They each had, it was one make and one color. that particular day. They were all four-wheel drives. I can't remember the make he saw, but he told me it was a new version of a particular make of a four-wheel drive that he saw. And they passed on Mombasa Road with a trailer, and I think it passed twice. So he told God, please confirm, are you the one who's showing me this? Because why am I noticing them? And since I sat here, I have not noticed. He was somewhere near, next to Mombasa Road, seated for a while. So it's like, how come I've not noticed them before, or I've not noticed anything? Are you telling me anything about them? Please confirm. So that's when the Lord, actually he told the Lord, please confirm by letting another one pass. And this one, let it not be the way they are. Let it be, I can't remember whether he told God, let them be mixed up, or let them be the same color or same make. I can't remember all the details of that that he saw. And after a short while, another trailer, now with what he requested God, passed. They passed the same way he had asked God. And so he realized it's not him who is seeing things. It's not just a normal thing. God was revealing this to him. And he had God telling him, these are the kind of cars I'm giving you. So he doesn't know whether it's the same cars or it's those particular cars, but they were, and he thought it was just one car that is going to be given. So this time when the angels were talking, because these are the angels that were talking, he says, why can't it be one? Why can't it be all the cars you saw on the road? Why think only one car? All those cars that were on that trailer, why can't it be all 6 cars? You only saw one trailer. How many others? Yeah, I think he saw one trailer, and then he was shown another confirmation. So this one he was being referred to, and you only saw one trailer. How many more others that you didn't see? And it's not just one make. It's not just one make. Remember, you're also custodians. You could also be owners, owning something like a particular Kenyan car company, car dealership. Um, there was one we know called Simba Courts. They specialize in selling Mitsubishi cars. So it's a Mitsubishi Motors company. And there's also another one that sells, I think, Mercedes and other brands, expensive brands, that is called Itidobi or something like that. So he was being asked, why couldn't you be the owner of this when the wealth transfer comes? Because a lot of these companies will also transfer ownership. God will transfer ownership. So he was telling him again, these angels were telling, I couldn't see the particular angel that was talking, but it sounded like they were all talking as one. So he was being told wealth transfer. But think a lot on BMW makes of car. Think a lot of that. Think about that. There are new models that are going to come out that will surprise you. So he was being told that because he likes Mercedes, but he was being told Mercedes is out of fashion. Mercedes is going out of fashion with what God wants. And don't forget, also the ones Kenya will come up with. Kenya is going to make that Kenya is going to make. Why can't you be the one owning that company that is making those weird cars, that is making those cars with changing colors? Why can't you be the one owning that company? Stop thinking small. Why can't you be the one owning those companies so that you can give the details that you want in those cars, that you can give requests? Mercedes is out of fashion, but that technology of Mercedes can be replicated in another. We are ready, we are ready, we are ready. So they continue saying that. Don't forget of the cars operating in gravity you've been told of. Who told you that they are in the future. If God has already given people and He's already shown some people plans of how to make these engines, what is so far about them? What is so distant away about them? We are ready. So they kept saying, we are ready, we are ready, we are ready. And then they ended by saying, to God be the glory, we are ready. To God be the glory, we are ready. To God be the glory, we are ready. So that session was ended. And then immediately another set of voices came out, and I was told these are archangels. And all of the archangels were saying, we are ready also. We have been ready forever. We have been ready forever. This is Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Minerva, Lord Noon, and the rest. We have been ready forever. We have been ready forever. So those are the names we know. We know Christians know of Raphael, Gabriel, Michael. Those are the normal names. And we have been revealed Minerva is of the one that the archangel that deals with wealth and resources and all that. Then there is Lord Noon. There is a friend of ours who has encountered him, and she calls him Enforcer. I can't remember why, whether he gave her that name or she's the one who named him that. But they have different names depending on what they're doing, but within their portfolio. So he's called Lord Noon. We've dealt with him a lot in a prayer group we had some 20 years ago. So he's dealt with us a lot. So I continue. We've been ready forever. We have been ready forever. Do you know you'll be able to see how we look like, how our faces look like, how our bodies look like, how we are originally created? We have been waiting forever. So it's not just you waiting. We have been waiting longer than you. Just like all the other angels, we have been ready. We have been waiting for a long time, just like heaven. And we are excited, we are excited, we are excited. So they kept repeating that. And then my brother was told, Raphael, Archangel Raphael says he's so excited, he can't wait. Archangel Raphael is the one now whose department is the altars, especially the one in Kitui. That's his department, the Department of Healing and Restoration. He can't wait. He can't wait. That altar, he can't wait. He can't wait for the development, and not just for that, but the outpouring is the most important. The outpouring, it's not just healing. It's not just about healing. You'll be able to understand that it's more than just healing. It's more than just a revival that altar is carrying. You will know what else it carries. Because after the revival, after it begins the healings, you think it will go out of fashion. It's more than what you think. And then the one now I was saying about Lord Noon, the one that we've dealt with in our group more than 20 years ago. He says, the person who was talking, the group of archangels say, Lord Noon is saying, he spoke in Swahili, bado hamjamuona, bado hatujamuona, bado tutamuona na tutafurahia. So he was just saying, we still don't know him, we still haven't known him. That's direct. We still haven't seen him, we still have not seen him, and we will see him and we will enjoy, but it's not the nice enjoying, it's just a fun word. we will see him and enjoy it. So we will see him and enjoy seeing him. So I was laughing, and he was using my voice as God has been using to give these utterances, and the accent that he was giving he was using is, and the expression he was giving was of an actor, and a movie, is it producer or something, called Abel Mutua. So he's a Kenyan guy, called Abel Mutua. So he was mimicking and telling, mtafuraya, mtafuraya. So that's what Kenyans will be able to identify with that. So they ended there, and as I was laughing and just enjoying all that, and then they said, "Rest, rest, peace of God on you both." And when they began to speak, actually, I wrote here, they began to speak the original angels. I had, I thought the Lord had taken over, but I realized it was the angels still talking and explaining about the cars. It sounded so much like him that I was a bit confused. Um, and but when they started talking, at a short time, that's when I realized it was the angels when they started saying, "We are ready, we are ready." And I was now revealed for that these are angels, our entourage talking. But the voice was so similar to the voice that had been speaking to us that it took the Lord to reveal to us it's not him. But it was very amazing. So this has taken so long. The original talking, the original recording God gave us took more than 2.5 hours, around almost 2.5 hours long. And we didn't even feel tired throughout, as he talked to us. So, glory to his name, glory to the Almighty God in the highest for everything. And I thank you so much if you have listened up to this end of this message. I don't take it for granted for being with me. I thank you. I bless you. Even the peace of God that these angels have spoken over us, the Lord has spoken over us, let that peace be on you. Let that peace be in you. And let that peace be through you, and that you will touch others in it. Thank you so much, and be blessed, and see you next in the next recording. Thank you.